Good morning. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and that is the sedimentary environment. We all are familiar with the term sedimentary. We are also familiar with the second term, and that is the environment. But we have defined environment till now differently. That environment is the life support system. Environment is the surroundings under which we all are living. Environment provides all the basic needs of our life, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil on which we are cultivating of food grains. But in this situation, sedimentary environment is the sum total of all those physical, chemical, and biological unit under which deposition takes place. So sedimentary environment is a geomorphic unit under which deposition is taking place. We all are familiar with the term glacier, that this is a glacier. And from this glaciers, lakes are formed. Then the rivers, they are originating from the glaciers and from the proglacial lakes. These are the rivers. The rivers, they are finally draining into the ocean, and when they drain into the ocean, they form the delta. So these are various surface processes: the glacier, lakes, rivers, delta, and ocean. These are various natural agencies. The glacier is one natural agency, delta is also natural agency, ocean is also. These are various denudational processes. So all these processes, the glacier, lakes, rivers, delta, ocean, they are responsible for the formation of a geomorphic unit, or they are the unit in which deposition of lateral moraine, lacustrine deposits, point bar, bread bar, delta, shallow sea and deep sea deposition is taking place, and that's why they all are known as sedimentary environments. It means sedimentary environments can be classified into three main types. Number one is continental, second is transitional, and third is marine. The continental sedimentary environments are again divided into two: terrestrial and the aqueous. And the marine is again divided into two, broadly into two: shallow marine system and the deep sea system. Shallow marine or shallow sea and the deep sea. Transitional is deltaic, lagunal, estuary, and then tidal. The aqueous is broadly divided into two: fluvial and lacustrine. And the terrestrial is glacial environment and the Aeolian environment. So broadly, the sedimentary environment can be classified into three: continental, that is terrestrial, the glacial environment, and the Aeolian environment. Then the aqueous, that is the fluvial environment and the lacustrine environment. Transitional environment means which is located between the continent and the ocean, that is the deltaic environment, lagunal environment, estuarine environment, and the tidal environment. And the marine is broadly classified into two: the shallow marine environment and the deep sea environment. So I will discuss only those environments which are there in the postgraduate syllabus and which are there in various competitive examinations. So I will discuss the fluvial, the glacial, the deltaic, shallow sea, and the deep sea. But if there is any requirement on any sedimentary environment, certainly I will discuss that sedimentary environment also. So the sedimentary environments are important because we all are interested to know that what was the physical, chemical, and biological condition when the shivalics were formed. We are interested to know as a geologist that what was the physical, chemical and biological condition, what was the climate, what was the environment when Gondwana deposits were deposited in different parts of planet Earth. As a geologist, we are always interested to know that what was the physical, chemical and biological conditions when the Kutch was formed, when the Kutch deposits took place during Jurassic time. So the reconstruction of sedimentary environment as a geologist is very important, and that can be done with the help of facies. Facies is the sum total of all those physical, chemical and biological characteristics of any rock which makes it distinct from the other rock. For example, there are these three chalks. Anyone can easily identify that this one is different than this and this one is different than this. These two are equal in size, but they can be differentiated very easily on the basis of color. These two are identical in color, but they can be also very easily differentiated on the basis of their size. So the physical, chemical and biological characteristics on the basis of which we can differentiate between two lithological units, that is known as facies. And sedimentary facies are very important because on the basis of grain size we can identify them, on the basis of texture we can identify them, on the basis of sedimentary structures we can differentiate between various facies. So they are very helpful in the identification of paleo environment, in the identification of past depositional setting. And that's why the sedimentary environments are very important, because they provide information about the past physical, chemical and biological condition when that particular rock was deposited. And as a geologist, we are always interested to know all these things. So the facies as well as the sedimentary environments, they are very important. Then the second point, because frequently we will use this term when we will discuss the shallow sea and the deep sea. If this is high sea level and this is low sea level. High sea level and the low sea level. And this is fair weather wave base, and this is storm generated wave base, and this is the limit of continental shelf. So this point from point 1 to point 2 means the area located between low sea level to high sea level. We all know that sea level is not a fixed level. If this is the land and this is the ocean, the line which makes a boundary between the land and ocean, that is known as shoreline. And shoreline is not a fixed line. It keeps on moving up and down because of the tides. And we measure the elevation of any place with respect to the sea level, above sea level, ASL. But sea level is not a fixed level. That's why we use the term MSL, mean sea level. In our country, we measure the elevation of any point with respect to the Chennai. Chennai is taken as the standard. So MSL means mean sea level, because sea level is not a fixed level that keeps on fluctuating between high sea level to low sea level because of the tides. So this is high sea level, this is low sea level, first and second, and the area located between first and second is known as foreshore. This is second, low sea level, and this is third, fair weather wave base. Then the area located between second to third is the shore face upper. Then this is fair weather wave base, and this is storm generated wave base. The area located between third to fourth is the shore face again, but this is lower. and then from 4 to 5, the area located between storm generated wave base to continental shelf, lower limit of continental shelf, that is up to a depth of about 200 meters into the ocean. This is offshore. And the area towards land from 1 to O is the 0 to 1, that is the backshore. So backshore, shore face upper, lower shore face, and the offshore. We all are familiar with the term high sea level, low sea level. Because of tides, the fluctuation of shoreline, upper limit is high sea level, lower limit is low sea level. Fair weather wave base, there are waves in the ocean. The first point where this wave comes in contact with the base of the ocean, that is known as fair wave base. This is the first point when wave comes in contact with the base of the ocean. During a storm, because the velocity of the wind increases, the amplitude as well as the wavelength of the wave will increase, and that's why the wave base will shift towards ocean. This is known as storm generated wave base. So the area located between fair weather wave base and storm generated wave base is known as 3 to 4. This is shore face, lower shore face, and the area located is between storm generated wave base to continental shelf, lower limit of continental shelf is the offshore. All these terms are very, very important. Again, we can classify these terms as 0 to 1, supratidal. 1 to 2, intertidal. And then 2 to 3 are from 2 to 5, that is subtidal. So we can classify the shallow marine system like supratidal, intertidal, and the subtidal also. In terms of littoral, again we can classify this like this. From 0 to 1, supralittoral. From 1 to 2, littoral, and from 2 to 3, sublittoral. Again, we can classify the all area of continental shelf as the neritic. From continental shelf to the continental slope as bathyal. Then from continental slope to continental rise as abyssal, and from continental rise to the deep sea, that is the headal zone. So we can classify this like this also: neritic zone, bathyal zone, abyssal zone, and the headal zone. This into 4 zones also. The total marine environment, the shallow sea as well as the deep sea. So on next term, you please revise all these terms and all the basic concepts of sedimentology, because all these three things, all these terms are very, very useful, and they make the basic concept and basic understanding of the sedimentary environment. And in every sedimentary environment, for any geomorphic unit, for any deposition, 3 things are very important. Number 1 is the process, second is the sediment, and third is the accommodation space. In all the sedimentary environment, glacial or deltaic or shallow sea or deep sea, these 3 things are very important: process, sediment, and accommodation space. We need a process for the deposition of any geomorphic unit. Either the process is glacial or fluvial or lacustrine or shallow sea or deep sea. Further, if process is there, we need sediments for the formation of any geomorphic unit. from where that sediment is being derived, because the continental part is the major area of sediment generation. Generally, the deep sea, they are starved of sediments. Whatever sediments they are coming into the shallow sea and deep sea, they are from the continental part. So continent is the source of sediment, and the oceans, they are sink for the sediment. Then the accommodation space process is there. Glaciers are there for the formation of any geomorphic unit. River is there, shallow sea is there, sediments are there, but there is no accommodation space. So accommodation space is third most important factor for the formation of any geomorphic unit. So all these three things in each and every sedimentary environment, we will discuss that what is the process, from where the sediments are coming from, and what is the accommodation space, and the shape and size and nature of any geomorphic unit or any depositional sequence, that will depend on the process, sediment and accommodation space. By changing one, the nature, shape and size of the geomorphic unit of the sedimentary sequence will change. So keep on revising all these things. We will discuss on next on one of the sedimentary environment in detail. Thank you and good luck to all of you.